Top focus in WION at this hour. The U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has accused China of undermining the decades-long status quo that has kept both nations from going to a war over Taiwan. Blinken has accused Beijing of trying to speed up its seizure of the island. During an interview to the Bloomberg, Blinken said that China wants to exert more pressure on Taiwan, making life difficult in a variety of ways for the Taiwanese people. Now, the latest comments from the top U.S. diplomat criticizing China over Taiwan comes after Blinken said that China may seize Taiwan on a much faster timeline than previously thought. These warnings from Blinken also come shortly after China wrapped up its twice-in-a-decade Communist Party Congress. During the meeting, Chinese President Xi Jinping had asserted on how they will never renounce the right to use force over Taiwan. And when asked about Xi's power play in Beijing, Blinken said that the U.S. was focusing on how to shape the world order around China by strengthening partnership with allies rather than influencing China's internal dynamics. Meanwhile, Taiwan's defense minister has also said that its military is prepared for a war with China, and it has pledged to strengthen its combat readiness. According to sources, the Taiwanese foreign minister has said that Taipei expects greater China pressure, especially after Xi Jinping securing a third five-year term. Apart from this, Taipei has also doubled down on its rhetoric against Beijing, with Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party seeking to turn up the heat ahead of the local government elections next month. And for more on this, we're now being joined by Keone Everington, who is a journalist from Taiwan. Welcome to the broadcast, Keone. Now, the United States of America has warned that China may plan to annex Taiwan on a much faster timeline. What do you make of this statement? Do you see the latest statement by Blinken as some kind of posturing?
Well, this is the third time he's been quoted as saying this in so many weeks, so it's a pattern now. And so it looks, it's sort of disturbing because it's a little bit reminiscent of what the U.S. was saying before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So it's showing that they have some intelligence, showing them that this is something significant enough for him to repeat it and to constantly mention it. So they know more than what they're saying. He wouldn't give a lot of detail as far as timing or exactly how this would happen, but it's a new dynamic, and like you said in your report, now that Xi has cemented his power and removed any sense of any kind of opponents or anybody that would challenge him, this looks like this is something that they're going to focus on even more. They feel like they've dealt with Hong Kong, and he's now in his third term completely unopposed. So, yeah, there's definitely, and as you mentioned in your report, the foreign minister and the minister of defense are preparing. They believe that this is a potential threat. And so we're anticipating an increase in terms of more pressure tactics. There were 22 warplanes yesterday.
Right.
And so, yeah, we expect a ramping up, but, exactly what this is going to entail, we don't know yet.
Right. The Chinese President Xi Jinping asserted on how China will never renounce the right to use force over Taiwan. And in a latest statement, the Taiwanese defense minister has said that Taiwan is now ready for a war with China. This despite a huge military gap between China and Taiwan. In your viewpoint, do you see Taiwan prepared in face of a Chinese aggression?
Yeah, and basically what the defense minister was saying was we can make do with what we have, but really it's not, he can't say this, but basically it's really not enough to stop what they've got. I mean, they've amassed an incredible arsenal over the past 2 decades. And Taiwan really hasn't been able to keep up with that. They're only starting to do that now. And the U.S. is trying to accelerate the delivery of weapons, funding of weapons, possibly joint production of weapons. But if this happened in the short term, there's not enough troops, there's not enough weaponry to deal with a massive Chinese assault. There would have to be help from allies such as the U.S. and Japan very quickly, or it's going to be extremely difficult. I mean, the only thing that Taiwan has right now is just the fact that it's difficult to launch an amphibious assault across the Taiwan Strait. But the thing is, they could go ahead and start taking these smaller islands, and that's definitely a concern. There's not much to stop them as far as that goes. The disparity is really too great right now, and it's a very urgent matter. But because of Ukraine, the U.S. is going to have difficulty supplying Taiwan rapidly enough to build up enough of a deterrent. Right. I mean, that's really what they need to do. But right now, the deterrent is not so substantial.
Right. So China is not only threatening Taiwan on the military front, but also on the diplomatic front. The Taiwanese foreign minister has said that China would ramp up its diplomatic attack on Taiwan, especially after the Chinese president securing a third five-year term. How do you see Taiwan handling these diplomatic threats?
Well, they're limited as far as what they can do, given that they have such a small number of diplomatic allies. They're going to work with their diplomatic allies as much as they can, try their best to work with new partners, such as Lithuania. Maybe they can start to continue to draw Ukraine over to their side. Ukraine definitely seems to be very sympathetic to Taiwan. And naturally, other powers in the region like Japan, hopefully Taiwan can gain more support from Japan and continued support. I mean, what we're seeing with Blinken is basically an example of U.S. diplomacy putting pressure on behalf of Taiwan, advocating for Taiwan, drawing attention to the matter here, to the seriousness of the situation here.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing is, at the same time, they don't want to provoke. I'm going to put this as quote, provoke China, which just means, they have to play their cards carefully here in Taiwan, still kind of keep a low key and focus more on economics. And just the fact that the economic importance, and Blinken talked about that 50%
right.
The shipping is going through the Taiwan Strait here, and also the chips, the semiconductors, over 92% of the most advanced chips. And so that's something that Taiwan will have to continue to press on and try to build its strength in that area.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on WION This Hour and sharing your insights on this. Thanks very much.